Hey guys, so I got to do a little caveat before we get started. We're going to do what men don't want women to know. um, if you can't handle sex talk or you can't handle a direct sexual truths, so to speak, certain language offends you, this is not the video that you want to see. If, however, none of that bothers you, you a grown up, bring it on. Let's go. Let's get it. So the next chapter, we talked about life in the office. We talked about business trips and how people are sexual opportunists. Men in particular are sexual opportunists, and they're always looking for an opportunity to get with someone else. That is their nature. In a way, they're not much different from animals in the wild because they just always trying to get it on. However, there are some species who are monogamous. So guys cannot use that as an excuse. Well, we're animals. We can't help it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have an intellect. Animals do that because they try and get with everybody because they trying to keep the species alive. If they don't, then the species could die out. You, on the other hand, are capable of love and commitment and loyalty. And I've told you this before. This doesn't apply to all men. Let me repeat that. This does not apply to all men. Okay? But most men are narcissistic. Narcissists feel like I could poke anybody. I know I said I vows with you and I love you forever. She's pretty hot. Okay, that's just their nature. Whether they act on it or not is a different ballgame. Okay, that's a different ballgame. But they're always looking for an opportunity. Not all men, but since a lot of men are narcissistic, they are sexual opportunists, even when it's extremely inappropriate, and especially when it's extremely inappropriate. And you don't want to know what's in a guy's mind. You don't. You don't. You do not. You do not. I'm telling you, you don't. And Smith and Doe, the writers of this book, said, you don't. You don't want to know. So let's talk about masturbation. That's what we're going to talk about today. Like I said, if you get offended easily, bye-bye. We'll see you next time. And here we go. This is written by two men. So there's no angry, bitter, cynical lesbians that hate men. This is written by two men. So zip it. Ask any honest man, that is, if you can find one, how many times he's masturbated in his lifetime, and he won't give you an answer. But it's not because he doesn't want to. It's because he has masturbated so many times he couldn't possibly count. If men couldn't satisfy the urgent physical need for an orgasm versus the incessant psychological desire for an orgasm, which is the status quo, they would probably go insane. It is the act of self-manipulation alone that allows men to satisfy this need and desire at their slightest whim. You should consider yourself lucky that your man can only masturbate with his hand, because if he was limber enough to use his mouth, you'd never see him outside of your locked bathroom again. Okay? There was a star. I was told about it. I didn't actually see it because I don't need to see all that. But somebody told me that his name is Jeremy. He's an adult movie star, and when he was not as round as he is now, he was limber enough to do that to himself back in the day. Okie dokie. Masturbation is the only sexual act that takes place without your participation that can be beneficial to you. It allows your man to reach the unloaded state without the aid of another woman. Okay, so for those who don't know, there's loaded and unloaded. Loaded means a man needs to get off. And if he loves you, you love him. Handle your business, girl. Handle your business. He's a lot less stressed when he gets his, groove on. And loaded, if you don't unload him, he will that will propel him to try to find somebody else to unload for him. With that being said, if that man is a narcissist, he's going to try to stick somebody anyway, and it don't matter how often you do him. There's not enough cosmetic surgeries that you could do, working out in the gym 24/7. You get makeup professionally done, hair professionally done, you lost weight, you did this, you did that, you got bigger boobs, you got a bigger butt. It don't matter what you do, honey. He wants to poke somebody else because he's already got you into him. He's already got you. And if he's a narcissist, and a lot of men are, not all, but a lot of men are, they feel entitled to be with other people. It's just the way they do. And I don't care that I'm married to you. I said those vows way back then. I didn't say them every day. So glad I'm single. You just don't know. Masturbation. Okay, so it's the only act he can do by himself. That it's usually the act itself is usually beneficial to you. What the act represents, however, is a whole other matter that Smith and Doe, the writers of this book, are obliged to explain to you. Your man's frequency of masturbation is a crucial indicator of his sexual desire for you. What takes place in a man's mind at some point will manifest in reality, and it's up to you to be that reality, or it will surely be someone else. So it's time you start paying much closer attention to what's going on behind that bathroom door. Hint, if you hear a repetitive slapping noise, it's not your man's hands clapping between push-ups. Okay, let me breathe. All right, let me breathe. Okay. Be warned, do not let your man know you are onto his masturbatory trail, or he will go into the Smith and Doe state of covert self-satiation, a condition in which he takes extreme measures to mask his distressing pattern of excessive masturbation. I cannot talk. Worst yet, if he sees this dreaded book lying around and realizes that Smith and Doe have come to unlock the bathroom door, thus informing you of its secret endeavors, your man will quickly become even more guarded. He will make up elaborate reasons for doing even the most innocuous of things, like reading downstairs or not being able to sleep. Because he knows you've read Smith and Doe, who to his eternal chagrin he will know that you know that if he lets you know how often he's masturbating, you'll soon know that he's going elsewhere, at least in his mind, for something which so far you've known nothing about. His worst nightmare is that you'll start to think about all these things, and soon you'll remember that pair of your underwear you found behind the computer, and that feeling of starch on the carpet in front of the TV set. That's so gross. And that dog-eared National Geographic on sexual initiation in the Congo. If your man rarely masturbates, he is more than likely satisfied with your sex life. Like I said, if he's a narcissist, a lot of men are, it don't matter what you do to him in the bed, he still needs somebody else to feed his ego. This is an excellent position for you to be in. You are at far lower risk of his straying when he is satisfied and thus unloaded. Unloaded means he's gotten his walnuts emptied. In mathematical terms, the frequency of your man's masturbation is inversely proportional to his sexual satisfaction with you, which leads us to the float factor imperative. The amount your man masturbates is equal to the total centiliters of sperm contained in his testicles at any given moment, multiplied by the average number of erections he has each day, divided by the number of orgasms he has had in the last 48 hours. Huh? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with y'all, ladies. What? You'll give yourself a headache trying to do the math in this highly complicated equation. But in layman's terms, it simply means the more sperm weighing down his testicles, the lower the testicles will float in the scrotum. As a man instinctively needs his testicles as close to his body as possible, he is physically compelled to reduce the drag by lightening the load, unloading, thus emptying and raising the testicles to their original position. Testicles that do not freely float cause a physical sensation that must and will result in unloading. In other words, less retained sperm combined with a larger number of orgasms results in a lower frequency of masturbatory episodes and hence an exponentially more satisfied man. Okay? All right. If your man masturbates often or is in a chronic state of covert self-satiation, be warned he is a ticking time bomb. Does he seem to shower 6 times a day? Does he mosey downstairs as you are falling asleep with a video copy of My Fair Lady in his hand? Glance inside the box and you'll find quite a different plot if you can find a plot. Does he just want to cuddle when you want to give him what he usually wants most, oral satisfaction? All these and more are reasons to get worried. Your man is not getting something that, quite frankly, he physiologically needs. You see, if a man wants blowjobs and you don't do blowjobs, your man is not going to decide he no longer needs blowjobs. He isn't doing this to spite you. Rather, it is simply not his decision to make. He needs certain things sexually, and it is your job to find out what those needs are if you are to keep him faithful and your relationship sound. This is not an example of Smith and Doe helping men, by the way. If your man wants blowjobs, he will get blowjobs. If they don't come from you, honey, I'm adding the honey in there, they'll come at first from behind his fantasy barrier, but this relatively harmless substitute for the real thing will not last long. Soon, he will inevitably seek the warm, wet mouth of another living person. It's a horrible fact, but if your loving man loves anal sex and you can't even conceive of trying it, and he then tells you he's okay with your lack of interest, Smith and Doe are here to cast you from your world of fantasy into harsh reality. Your man is getting anal sex at first in his mind through open masturbation or covert self-satiation, but soon he'll want the real thing. This doesn't mean he's getting it on a daily basis or even on a regular basis, but he is getting it. His seeming complacency and understanding should now become, thanks to Smith and Doe, a screaming red siren. So I'm going to pause right there for a second. I know of a guy online who is the exception to every rule in this book. When he met his wife, and I talk about this a lot, or fairly often, when he met his wife, they were just friends for many years. So he didn't disrespect her by trying to get her legs open today. We had a conversation, let's go, which is what men do. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with them, but that is what they do. And he never did that because they were strictly friends only. And for many years, she dated other people, he dated other people, and then eventually she got to the wake-up call because with other men it wasn't working. And he's always respected her. He never tried to grab her butt, try to grab her boob, try to kiss her, shove his tongue down her throat. He never did anything inappropriate. He treated her like a lady. She remembered that. She's not dumb. She remembers that. And one day, long story short, she invited him to her house. They weren't seeing other people. They still lived with their parents at the time. They were young. And she made cupcakes and she said, "Would you be my boyfriend?" And he was so excited he didn't know what to do with himself because he's been waiting for those words for a long, long time. And he put on the laptop, I guess the computer, he put "Celebrate" by Kool and the Gang. Okay. He was dancing. They were having a great time. And from that point on, they were inseparable until she eventually passed away from cancer. They've got 2 little kids, and he's a single dad now, raising his kids by himself. But he's not your typical dog. He's not He still loves the hell out of her. She's been gone for, oh gosh, a year? Has it been longer than a year? I'm not sure. But he still loves her. He still wears his wedding ring. He is not the type of person. His name is Kyle. Her name was Jenny. Their kids are Ellis and Winnie. He's not the type to have different women over his house every other day because he's a man and he can't help it, and his dick will fall plumb off if you don't stick it in somebody. He don't strike me as that type. He's not ready to date, period. Are you crazy? Hell no. Because he still thinks about Jenny. He still loves the heck out of her. He is the exception to every rule. His penis does not control him. His heart, he approaches with his heart, not his dick. All right. And that's the difference between him and a lot of men. All right. And I love that about him. I love that about him. His whole family, including Jenny, has a special place in my heart. I feel bad that I didn't get to meet them as a family because they're so special. And he's so different. He won't even go to coffee with somebody. Are you kidding me? He's still in love, head over heels in love with his wife. I can't see him dating anytime soon. It may be another 5 years or something. I don't know. But he's not running the streets. He's not running in and out of bars. He's not that type of person. And I could read people pretty well. And he's not your typical woof. He don't do that. Okay. He's a sweetheart. And more men need to learn to approach with their heart. It's all about discipline, self-control. Nobody cares what you do in the privacy of your bathroom or whatever you do in the shower. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. We don't need to know all that. But as long as you don't approach women like a dog in heat, you gotta have respect for them. Don't let that thing control you. And I know with a lot of men, it's going in one ear and out the other. But you're going to miss out on a real good woman by acting stupid. So you're going to have to reel that shit in. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. Don't say I didn't warn you. If without your asking, your man tells you about a sexual need, take this very seriously, for he will rarely tell you twice. If he doesn't get what he asked for, he will get it elsewhere. Again, Kyle is the exception to the rule. I love Kyle. Not like that, don't even. But I love him. His heart is just, wow, the size of Texas, and it's not fake. He's a good man. He's a damn good man. The fact that your man even told you what he wants is a very significant sign. For one, it shows that he is communicating his needs, and without communication, no monogamous relationship, sexual relationship can survive, much less flourish. So the fact that he's communicating with you is a very good thing, okay? But more importantly, the act of telling you something this intimate means that not only does he want what he's asking for, but he genuinely feels that he needs it. I don't know about that. I think a lot of this is psychological. If you think you're going to die without something, then that's how it's going to feel. Okay? But I don't know. I don't know if women are just wired differently. I have had too many issues going on, too many medical issues going on. I've had stress out of nowhere, unnecessary bullshit stress. I have had, too many things happen to be worried about who I'm going to jump on next. I don't have time for that shit. Okay? I don't know. I guess if you don't have a hobby and you ain't got nothing going on, you just obsess about that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just wired differently. I know I'm wired differently. I am not the type to run around with my tongue hanging out of my head looking for the next person to jump on. I mean, I don't know. It's like men are from a different planet, to be quite honest. But more important, the act of telling you something this intimate, okay, feels like he needs it, my bad. You must not ignore this very important sign from your man, or his failure to be faithful will be a result of your failure to pay attention. A common mistake men make is to satisfy his request for a short time, then forget about it as long as his need has been fully satiated. Okay? This is a horrible mistake. A horrific mistake. Your man still wants what he asked for, and he always will. Give him a taste of it, and then taking it away is akin to taunting a full-grown starving lion with a big bloody slab of red meat. It's not something you want to do, and you're likely to get hurt. Smith and Doe hereby issue the following sexual imperative. Don't ever forget what your man tells you he wants, and don't ever stop giving it to him, or he will surely fulfill his desires with a more willing participant. How can men need something sexual to stay faithful? Why can't they simply curb their urges like any other civilized human? Hello! Because, besides being uncivilized, men's sexual needs are infinitely stronger than those of the most addicted drug addict on earth. When a man needs something sexually, there's nothing that will stop him from getting it, and if he can't get it for free, he will always just pay for it. See Prostitutes in Your Man. This vicious cycle never ends. If your man is masturbating more than once a week that you know of, force him to tell you what he wants that you aren't giving him, or your relationship is headed for disaster. So my thing is this, okay? And that's all we're going to do for today. My thing is this. Why get in a serious relationship if you feel like you just gonna plumb have a heart attack if you don't stick it somewhere and on a regular basis, and you need porno sex? And I'm gonna tell you something else. Don't get married. If you can't control your desires, don't bother getting married, because you're just wasting that woman's time. You're just wasting her time. Okay? You're not going to be faithful, and you know that before you get married. Don't freaking put yourself in that situation. Don't waste nobody's time, because then they're going to really flip out when they find out that you wasted their time and they file for divorce, and you'll never see your kids again until hell freezes over, and you deserve that and a whole lot more if you waste somebody's time by getting married knowing that you got to have porno sex 24/7. When you ain't at work, you got to be screwing. Don't waste nobody's goddamn time. But here's the thing. If your man is a typical narcissist, which a lot of men are, it don't matter what you do. It don't matter what you do. It could be the identical of 50 Shades of Grey. It could be sex swings come down from the ceiling. It could be you have no inhibitions in the bedroom. None. If he wants y'all to dress like animals, it's actually a fetish. I forget what it's called, but if he wants you dressed like an animal and y'all hump like wild animals, he's a cheetah and you're a leopard or whatever the hell, and you do that too, guess what, sweetness? He's still gonna cheat if he's a narcissist. You ain't gonna see that in this book. He's still gonna cheat. I don't care what you do. Okay? You could put lit firecrackers up your butt. It don't matter, babe. It don't matter. He's still gonna step out. So I really think sexual freaks should not get married, should not be in serious relationships. And if you're a narcissist, you don't need to be heading towards somebody's bedroom. You need to be heading towards a therapist's office. Because whatever's in your head that's got you so wrapped up in this, and you're a narcissist on top of that, so you feel entitled, your best bet is to go to a therapist to find out how you can learn self-discipline, how you can learn self-control. Because you know what? For men that are in the Navy, and I'm not saying men don't fool around with each other, they do. But every man on that ship that's under the water for extended periods of time, they are all not going to turn gay. I don't give a damn. They're not. Now, are they going to pop their baloney? Probably. Are they going to pop it a lot? Probably. Are they going to try to do it quietly so other men don't know? Probably. Okay. But this wild animal mentality is just bizarre to me. It's just bizarre. And it don't have anything to do with the cheating. When men cheat, and a lot of men cheat, especially married men, they love to cheat because they already got my home life taken care of. I need to get some freaking with somebody else. Hey, it's forbidden, so it's exciting. I don't know. Kyle is the exception to every rule. He's not a pig. He's not a pig. Now, were they wild in the bed? Probably, but I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Okay? I really don't. But I know he had the ultimate respect for her. And he's not the type of person to say, you don't give it to me, I'll get it from somebody else. Watch. Well, my reaction to that would be, well, go ahead. Hey, you can pack your shit and get out right now. Go be with her. And when she's tired of your arrogant attitude, don't have her return you to me, because once the door is shut, it stays shut. So, I don't know. I think that if you're a wild animal, honestly, that you shouldn't be in a serious relationship, because you're not going to be faithful. And you damn sure should not be married, because you know you're a wild animal. So if you just have no discipline, you shouldn't be in a serious relationship. It's just that simple. And you should let the people know that you're involved with that. Hey, I'm a hoe. I'll poke everything that's not bolted to the ground. Can you handle that? Me and you can have some funsies, but I'll never be serious with you, because I'm a whore and I can't stop screwing the hell out of everybody and everything. You need to be honest. I have no sexual self-discipline. The minute my dick jumps, I got to poke. Because if a person falls in love with you knowing that you ain't shit, she kind of signed up for it because you told her, But how many guys are going to be that honest? They're not. They're not. So, anyway, that's your chapter for today and my little commentary. But you guys take care, and I hope you enjoyed this chapter, and I will talk to you fine folks later. Bye.